What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the RC Kevin channel. Fait que pour les francophones, on va garder ça simple. On va parler avec Tyler en anglais. Puis ensuite de ça, on va revenir un peu sur le RC au Québec. Fait qu'on va pouvoir faire ça en français tout de suite après. So we sort of got a small routine here where we always call out the TQ with the first comment. So Jonathan Mongeau has the first comment with hello. So what's up, Joe? Martin, Eric, a couple of YouTubers which I don't know, but we should be a couple of people. So we'll just quickly waiting for people to say what's up. We got Jonathan from Otterville. What's up? So we got a couple of techno drivers. Obviously, techno is very is growing here. A couple of associated guys still think that AE is number one on top, but we do have a lot of new techno drivers. So probably they'll like having you and appreciate you coming out with us. So I'll quickly introduce you. So we have Tyler Hooks with us tonight. Tyler is very involved in RC. He's involved with Live RC, J Concept, Techno, and Tekin for the US market. He's going to go over a couple of his different roles later on today, but I appreciate Tyler coming in, and thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate you guys having me on. Just got back from San Diego, so kind of trying to settle back into the normal swing of things and get ready for the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, San Diego is not too bad. Not too bad of a place to be, eh?
No, yeah, it was pretty nice. And then the crew over at SCRC, they have a pretty fantastic facility. So yeah, definitely not a huge bummer of a place to go have a race at.
There's a couple of worse places like Ohio with a foot of snow, but oh well.
Yeah.
Did you come back to snow at your house, or were you okay?
No, I think the snow landed right after I left. I was trying to get out on Wednesday night, and they canceled all the flights in Dallas. And so we drove back to the house, and then I booked it to Houston, which is further south. But I think that night it snowed here in Dallas more than it does normally. So everybody was pretty excited about that here. But yeah, I got out before it snowed, and then it thawed before I got back.
Nice. So for those of you that don't know, Tyler is pretty infamous with having flight delays, and everything that could happen wrong happens to Tyler. So, oh well.
Yeah, just one of those things. Whenever I go to California, apparently that's when a natural disaster hits Texas is my time to go to either DNC or one of these races or whatever. So I'm 2 for 2 in the last year.
So basically an inch of snow just murders Texas and nothing else happens.
Yeah, you just shut the whole state down, start over the next week, hope that everybody makes it. That's about all we got.
Nice. So you were at SDRC, so it was a J Concept, the first indoor national race of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we've got 5 dirt races, and I want to say 4 carpet races this year. So this was the first of the dirt events.
Nice.
Pretty much, I believe it sold out. So it was over 250 entries. Obviously, SDRC is going to host the Roar Nationals this year for 10 scale. So a lot of the big name guys were there trying to kind of get their stuff figured out for that event as well. So it ended up being fairly similar, I think, to what we'll see, at least in the A main, of probably both the stock and the mod classes. There's going to be definitely some other guys that come and fill in, but it was a pretty good gauge for guys on at least where they're at going into the 2022 season.
Nice. So we're not used to seeing you run 10 scale. That's very, very recent. What classes did you run over the weekend?
So typically, if I do step out, because as I was telling you before we started, there's no 10 scale dirt tracks in Texas at all, or Oklahoma or Louisiana or any of the states around for that matter. It takes me about 8 or 9 hours to hit a clay track. So whenever I venture out and try to do one of these things, I typically run stock, whether it's 17.5 buggy, 13.5 4-wheel drive. Those are my go-to because I can kind of go and compete. And honestly, the last race that I've actually won in 10 scale stock was the Nationals, and that was 4 years ago. Since then, I've lost every race, so it's not it's not like it's super, I'm just going out there and blowing everybody out. And then just for techno purposes, I went and ran 4-wheel drive modified as well. So
Nice.
built a car for that and ran 3 classes this weekend.
Cool. How did your racing go?
I mean, it started off good. I kind of, when I go do this, like the whole first 2 days of practice are just kind of trying to shake all the rust off. And then also,
Literally.
yeah. And then like for 2-wheel, for example, like I don't ever run that. I run it on carpet sometimes here at home, but there's usually some hot setup or some, hot thing that guys are running on their cars. So the first day is me figuring out what that is so that then I can go buy the parts and like try to make my 2-wheel drive work. And I run the team associated 2-wheel drive stuff. So those guys are always super helpful. So they got me up to speed, changed the rear arm, changed the rear pivot and did some other stuff. And then my car was perfectly fine. And 4-wheel drive stuff is, I pretty much know what I'm doing with that. It's a little bit more similar to 8 scale. So the cars were good and everything. I seeded into the A heats for 2-wheel and 4-wheel stock. And then I was in the C heat for mod. And then once we finished up in qualifying, I finished up top of the B, or I started top of the B mains in stock and bottom of the B in mod. And that's pretty much where I finished. Not quite good enough to bump, but not a total disaster. So it was fine.
That's good. Congrats. Did you do anything really funky between your 4-wheel drive mod and 4-wheel drive 13.5?
No, they're actually pretty identical. I typically run ceramic bearings in my stock car, but I don't have like pucks or any of the lightened parts really. I could do that, but like honestly, like down the straightaway or anything like that, I've really never felt like I was a huge disadvantage. So like the really big change that I made while I was there, which was something that I did to both my 4 wheels, was everybody else with all the other brands of car have been transitioning to like these ultra low center of gravity packs. So instead of running like a 6,200 milliamp pack, they're running like a 44.
Yeah.
So I put one of those in both my cars, which was like, I thought it was better. Made the cars a little bit more nimble. The lap times were about 0.2 faster a lap. So for me, that was pretty big. So I was pretty happy with that. But other than that, like my cars are pretty much the same, just, stock electronics in one and mod electronics in the other.
Nice. I say that story once in a while. I'm a very below average racer. And basically the only thing that we had until this year in the community here for 10 scale has always been mod drivers. So everybody just put whatever motor in. Newbie comes in, he puts a 7.5 and a 2-wheel drive and just trying to hold on to that bad boy for 5 or 6 minutes. And first time I did a US race was a JC Nats in Chicago at Windy City RC, which is unfortunately closed right now. So I just show up there, mod cars, the whole 9 yards. And it was the same heat as Brad Shear, Alex K, all those guys. Alex K lapped me 8 times in 5 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I don't belong here. But there's such a big difference between the mod and the stock guys. I need to... That's a mistake I won't do ever again.
Yeah, I mean this layout actually had like modified and stock separators. There was like a triple on one side that modified 2-wheel and 4-wheel could do, and none of the stock guys could do. And then on the opposite side, they had a step on, step off.
Yeah, that was crazy. I loved it.
It was really cool, yeah. But like the modified 4-wheel guys we could jump the whole thing. The stock guys, in 4-wheel, you could jump over the step on, like all the way over like to the lander, and then like basically do a single after that, or you could step on, step off. And really, like I didn't feel like there was a huge difference either way. So like for me, like when I put the ultra low center of gravity battery in there, having a less milliamp to work with, it was one of those things where I could make the decision knowing that the battery was going to fall off way harder than like a 6,200 would.
Yeah.
That like halfway through the run, if I needed to, I could step on, step off instead of trying to jump over the thing. And I wasn't really going to lose any time, which was kind of cool.
Nice. So we got a couple of questions. Obviously, the good old one. that it's coming from our buddy Stefan out in the Atlantic provinces. Question for Tyler: why doesn't Techno produce a two-wheel drive buggy or two-wheel drive stadium?
Honestly, like it's just really, really low on the list of things. Obviously, like they're an RC company. They're trying to work on improving, what they have, ultimately. Um, so I know that we have a lot of 8 scale stuff in the works right now that the guys are pretty excited about, as well as maybe in the future, like not in the near future, in the future, I keep pressing them to try to even maybe do updates to the 10 scale 4 wheel. But to jump into the 2 wheel drive class, obviously, like that's one of the most difficult ones to do. Period.
Yeah.
Especially to get right. So, that's kind of an all hands on deck project. And, Techno's not a very big company. It's really, 5 to 6 full time employees, and that's it. So, um, without having a dedicated engineer and then a dedicated product manager for a product or project of that scale, there's really not any time or, resources for it. Could they do it? Yes. Do they want to? Maybe not right now.
There's other priorities, probably.
Yeah. I mean, 8 scale is the bread and butter, and that's what we want to be really good at, and what we have, what all of our drivers are kind of geared towards. So that's really what we pay attention to.
Cool. So you have a lot of hats in RC, by the way. You have the new JC22 hatch, which unfortunately FedEx screwed me over, but that's a different story. So what I wanted to say is you have many hats. So a lot of people know you from Live RC commenting with the one and only Scotty Ernst. You work for J Concepts, Tekin, and Techno. Do you want to care to just tell us about your different roles and maybe start with Live RC? Other thing I wanted to mention before you jump in is you're also one of the writers for the Live RC blogs.
Mhm.
Well, the one, um, and you're the one that came up with the unprofessional segment, which I find is really amazing for you guys that are reading or watching or listening up right now, guys and girls or whatnot. Non-binary is a thing now. So that's definitely a really good read about the unprofessional. So go ahead. What do you do for Live RC?
Yeah, so Live RC stuff, normal daily work is anything you see on the site, that's written is was either sent to us, from a company, or was written by us or created by us. So generally, the stuff that's on um, the site itself is written by me. I'm the only full time editor, if you will. It seems like such a weird word. Like I don't have a degree in communications or anything. I have a minor, but yeah, I
That's
just
half the battle.
yeah, I write stuff and click post and hope that the boss man doesn't get mad. That's really
You
what the professionals was he was like, you can write whatever you want, but you have to put that it's your opinion and not our opinion. And then you get to deal with the ramifications of whatever stupid thing you decided you want to talk about that week.
Yeah,
Uh,
you went all out a couple of times, eh?
yeah. I mean, I have pretty gnarly opinions about certain things, and I don't really like kind of half-ass putting them out there. I guess if I'm going to put my opinion out there, like I will research it, put some thought process into it, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it, whatever. That's why it's an opinion piece and not a fact piece or whatever. Like it's just how I feel about certain things. So yeah, that's kind of daily what I do for Live RC. And then whenever we go to these big events and we bring the full trailer with the cameras and the producer and the production equipment and everything, then generally I'm not so much your play-by-play guy, but your color guy.
Yeah, you're the
I'll be
definitely the color guy.
I'll be your professional racer point of view. So this year, I think for DNC, it's going to be me and Scotty, and then it sounds like for Nitro Nationals, since it's so much earlier in the year, it might be me and Mike Garrison.
Oh,
Both of which are guys that I love working with. So I'm super excited, for both of those events. Would I love to be racing? Yeah, sure. But this is basically like the next best thing. Plus, it's a paycheck, so it becomes the best thing. Um, And then for Techno was kind of the first one that took me on outside of Live RC as like an actual kind of an employee. And I do all the social media over there. So the large majority of the things that you see on their page are posted by myself. Normally, the blog posts, like for new products and stuff like that, are Ilias, which is
That's
our
the Euro guy, eh?
yeah, he's our European sales manager. So any of like the official blogs for like a new kit or something like that are generally Ilias. But I'll post most of the other stuff like the race results and most of the videos and anything else that shows up on the page. Um, and then I'm also a regional representative for them, so I cover I think it's like 7 or 8 different states around where I live. All the drivers that are down here and everything. And then for Tekin, I've kind of stepped in to handle their team management stuff. For the past couple of years, they haven't had a team manager, so we're kind of reorganizing everything and making sure that the drivers feel like they have support and information. And then I do all of their social media stuff as well. So the large majority of this stuff, at least, like the really high quality videos that they have that show up on their YouTube channel, are typically Ty Campbell, who is the son of the owner of Tekin. So generally, like the really in-depth videos, really pretty looking stuff, that's typically him. But the more of the day-to-day stuff there is myself. And then finally with J Concepts, it's more the event management. So the INS stuff, the NCTS, trying to coordinate everything, get all the dates put out, all the working with all the tracks, making sure that all the banners, the sponsorship, everything is put together, was kind of transferred over to me. And then I fill in here and there on other things that they need to do. Like I have access to their social media accounts, but they have Hannah Hardison and these other people that are really fantastic at their jobs. Like Hannah puts out these great videos and graphics.
She's really good. She does a really good job, and it really stepped up when she started to come on board.
Yeah, her ability to do things like on the fly is really impressive. Because that's part of the problem is, like, if you want to put out a 3-minute video after an event that's like a highlight reel of the video, or a highlight reel of the event, typically it takes somebody 3 weeks. Well, in 3 weeks, nobody cares. Like, your event's totally irrelevant now. Like, is it cool that you put out the video? Yeah, like, that's neat. But she can do it in 2 days or whatever. So by Wednesday, we have this sick video that covers the event, and it's still relevant, it's still applicable, and that's what people want to see. So like I do that for the other brands and stuff, but like this one, like they already have a dedicated team of people that do that stuff, and like that's not my place. But like if I'm at an event that she's not at, or that Paul Wynn's not at, or whatever, I can go around and kind of do things on the fly. And we're kind of we were talking about the Salvis brothers before we got on the camera, and we actually plan on doing 2 J Concepts oval events this year. They're not fully planned yet, but that's kind of I enjoy Dirt Oval. There's a lot of J Concepts involvement in Dirt Oval, so that's kind of something where we've done it once before and we kind of want to bring it back. So we're looking to have 2 of those events, so that's kind of falls under my realm as well. And then, yeah, if they need anything else, I'm working with somebody back at the office on doing a little video series that kind of covers all of the blogs from that week, or all of the press releases or anything. And it's kind of like a week in review, so that if you miss something on the Facebook page or whatever, you can just click a link and you can hit it real quick. And yeah, so just kind of filling in the gaps there and trying to learn.
Nice. So basically, from what I understand, you're on Facebook all day, and I'm just kidding.
No,
How?
you're not wrong.
I feel you. I just don't get paid for it. How big is the live RC production? Like everybody, like some people on social media are going to complain that there's not good enough coverage for this or that. How big is the trailer? How many employees, cameras, and all that jazz?
I want to say we have like a 25-foot trailer that, if we're at Nitro Challenge or Silver State or any of the full production events, like that thing's coming with us. And so you have your two announcers typically, and then we have an actual full-time producer that's there who, you know, is mixing everything together, putting it all, making everything look good. We always have 2 full-time camera guys, as well as typically one person that's kind of floating around and will help with the cameras or, you know, whatever else. And then we'll have usually 2 to 4 stationary cameras. And then last year, or maybe the year, like late the year before, we introduced the cable camera as well.
Love that.
Yeah, it's pretty much a full production.
So that's 6 people that you guys have to pay, house, travel. That doesn't cost like $500, eh?
No, unfortunately not. Yeah.
Okay.
We have the ability now. We have a guy who can show up on his own, set up a full moving camera, and then set up 2 or 3 stationary cameras and run it all by himself. So
Is that Matt?
Well, Matt does that all on his own. This is a guy that's actually
sorry,
employed by Live RC. No,
I screwed that one up.
Matt does that as well. You know, that's his deal. But yeah, this is just, you know, if you call Live RC and you're like, hey, like, what does it take to sponsor my event? Like, we have basically 2 production levels. Yeah, what Matt does is, you know, his own thing. It is ran, you know, he uses the Lifetime software and the Live RC and the overlays and everything, but, you know, that's his own deal.
My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, Matt's great.
Yeah, he does it. He does it pretty good too. So, like always, people want to have a full Live RC setup, but it'd be fun to have you guys up in Canada when all this stuff quiets down and we're able to race freely.
Yeah, it'd be cool to go to Big O Racing or something like that. I'd like to race there. I just think the track looks sweet is it molasses that's on top?
No, it's oil.
Oil. Okay, yeah.
I muted him. Sorry, he's there.
It looks awesome. I want to go race.
Man, the grip is unreal. Like,
that's what it looks like.
We run Ellipse Aquas, and you got grip for days.
Sweet. I'm down.
Joys of lives. So yeah, basically, the track he owns is all oiled up, and grip is fantastic. It makes a big difference for our weather because we get rain very, very often, and basically the oil prevents the track from absorbing the water, and we dry it up, and 30 minutes later it's good to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know Bego maybe wanted to quickly say that he's really trying to have a couple of pros here, but it all depends of the COVID.
Oh, well, I'm sure I could help him, you know, find some people to call, not myself, but I would like to come out there, but I'm probably not on that list.
You should come. We'll have fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
T'as-tu quelque chose à dire là-dessus ou non?
Comment?
T'es pas muté, là. T'avais-tu quelque chose à ajouter?
Non, j'écoutais pas en plus. T'es en train de donner des commentaires.
All right, I just muted him. Sorry. So yeah, basically, we're really trying to have a bit more people. We actually have a JC race here in Canada, which is the Canadian Outdoor Championship. Yeah. That's one of the things that we're trying to do a bit bigger. And then we have the 4-day race, which is the Quebec Classic. But it all depends on what's going on with the borders and all that jazz. But definitely when things open up, we'll try to have a bit of fun together. We had a really good question from Chris Riley. Where is it again? If you could interview anyone, which you almost pretty much did everyone, who would you like to interview that you didn't do, or that you would like to interview again?
I think Masami would be really cool. That's just one where it's like it's kind of an era that is beyond my time. And it's getting harder to find, you know, people that have that much information about, you know, what was going on back then, or that remember or whatever. So I always like talking to obviously Jason Rona and stuff, because, you know, he was kind of the tail end of that and kind of got to see, you know, what was going on around then and, you know, how dominant that guy was. But obviously Masami's still like super popular in the sport, and he's still, you know, this is what he does full time, is something in RC. So I think he'd be really cool to interview. Yeah, I think that would probably be my guy. I mean, ultimately Kinball would be really neat, but that one would require some like divine intervention. But yeah, I think those two guys would probably be the list.
It's crazy. Like I've been doing RC for just a short period of time. Like we're 22, like 5-6 years. But when you go back 10, 20 years, people would cut comms, the batteries and all that jazz. And right now people go nuts about sanding tires. Can you imagine what they used to do back in the day? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I worked obviously with Joel Johnson and Gil Losi Jr. for a long time at AKA, and that was one of the things that Joel told me is he's like, the setup didn't matter. Like we didn't have enough time to change it. Like we were trying to, do batteries and motors and stuff. Like your car was what it was when you showed up. Hopefully it was good because you didn't really have time to work on it.
Yeah. You've changed tire sponsor, especially for 10 scale. How much do the new types of slicks, like with the Smoothie 2, how much do they change the game?
Quite a bit. I mean, they make it super easy. Like you can create some work for yourself if you really want to sand them. But like this past weekend at SDRC, 1 4-minute practice run and they were up to speed. So no sanding, none of that craziness. Yeah, and you had all the traction that you could want. So, then we were kind of tuning things with either the stock gray inserts or the hard RM2 inserts. I was actually a fan of the RM2 inserts front and rear. And then even some of the guys were playing with the new sidewall stiffeners, which is something I would have liked to try. I didn't. But I think that would have been really helpful, at least in the front, to kind of just try to keep the car flatter. I know Dakota was playing with that and obviously had quite a bit of success. And Spencer Rivkin was doing it as well. And afterwards, after the race was over, we got done really early, which was nice. The program went really smoothly. So the guys stayed afterwards and did some more testing. And yeah, between, those options, it was easy because you could just bolt up a set of tires, 4 minutes, you're on pace, and then you can do all the testing you want.
Nice. I got to tell you a funny story about those sidewall adapters. I realized that there were actually no content about how to glue them, how to do anything about them. So by the time I got my January order in, it got here on the Tuesday. So the Tuesday I opened my box. I had my camera, everything set up. So I'm starting to put my stuff together. Then I get a YouTube notification. J Concept just uploaded a new video. I look it up. It's Spencer doing the video with Anna. I'm like, oh, damn it. So yeah, it was probably not going to be as good as what she did, but I felt like stupid.
Yeah, they knocked that out just recently, and I think they may even kind of go back and address that a little bit more. There are a couple different ways that you can do it, and I think they're still trying to kind of play with whichever one works the best. You can flip it inside out like they did in the video and then glue it. But I think that somebody was trying to explain to me that when you do it inside out like that, it doesn't want to sit quite correctly. So then when you try to flip it back inside, it kind of sits funny. So it's almost easier to do it the normal direction of the tire so that it doesn't try to stretch the sidewall or of the tire or the band. So they may redo that. They may not. But anybody who's watching out in Facebook land or YouTube land that wants to know how to glue those, you can hit up Dakota Fend or Spencer Rivkin or even Ryan Mayfield, and they should be able to square you away on the easiest way to do it because they seem to get it all figured out this weekend.
Nice, especially for his 8-scale track. It's something that we're going to play with for 8-scale. It's going to be perfect for us.
Yeah.
I just got to run outside now. Couple of last things I wanted to address with you. So you've been involved heavily in RC for a pretty long time. In your words or in your thoughts, not from your sponsor, but from yourself, what are the best things in RC right now?
I think that, despite what some very opinionated people in RC want to tell you, I think that RC is growing right now. I think that with drag racing and dirt oval there are easier ways to get involved and have a good time. Those are those two segments of RC where it's really, really easy to compete, but it's really, really difficult to go fast. But you can at least get out there relatively simply and compete and have a good time and hang with your buddies and drink some beers or whatever. And I think that it's kind of getting the same way in 10 scale now that all of the different companies have their slick options or their carpet tire options or whatever. Because now, 10 scale on slicks or 10 scale on carpet is just that much easier to compete with, like it's one of those things where it's easy to get around. It's hard to go fast. So I think that, yeah, we're not like it was in the early 2000s or the 90s. Like we're not cutting comms and we're not trying to put batteries together, and it's not insanely expensive. Like I think that people forget it was then. A battery was $150 and you needed to have 5 or 6 of them. Now you need to have one. So yeah, your car may be $500 or whatever, but you're not spending so much money on equipment just to keep yourself going. So I think that RC is in a good spot. We're seeing growth in the numbers. Club racing starting to kind of return. The big races just keep getting bigger, and so that's the best part about RC right now is that I always hear from people that it needs to go mainstream somehow, and I just think that that's the silliest thing ever. Like it's a hobby and a thing that we do because we like it, and who cares if people want to watch it? We like it and we do it because we like it. And the kid that gets hurt on a dirt bike or the kid that gets hurt doing something else picks up one, and either he likes it or he doesn't. Or the kid that's playing video games, their parents buy it for them and they like it or they don't. Or the guy that has a family and he's looking for an outlet. Like the 40 plus class is bigger than any other class there is. Like there's plenty of people that are getting into this and that are finding it cool, and they don't need to be kids either. Like RC is growing either way, whether it's 15-year-olds or 45-year-olds. Like it's fine. Everybody just leave it alone. It's fine.
I like that. That's an interesting way. We're pretty lucky here. We've had a one indoor track for the past like 2-3 years. In the past 18 months with the pandemic, we had a carpet track reopen and become bigger with Bego on his own 10 scale black carpet track. And we also have a brand new facility, which is something I need to show you at some point. There was a $5 million investment north of Montreal. So there's 4 indoor track, dirt oval, dirt off-road, and 200 by 80 foot carpet that they alternate between oval racing and on-road. But like we're lucky enough here that our hobby sport, or whatever you want to call it, is growing, but it's trying to keep it simple for the newcomers. We were talking about mod and stock and whatnot. I think we were able to do something different from what you guys do in the US. We do have a stock class, but it's all a spec motor.
Perfect. That's fine.
So you start the hobby and you don't need to put $250 on a motor, put your battery in the microwave and do all that funky stuff. People, do not put your battery in a microwave. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's really dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, or do it, whatever. It's fine.
Or just make sure you have good insurance.
Yeah.
And I'm not liable for it. So like it's an easy, cheap ESC. It's a cheap motor, and you could get the best or the worst battery. It doesn't make a difference because the motor sucks, but it sucks for everyone. So that's the thing that I don't see always for you guys in the US, because everybody is on a Trinity or high-end Tekin or the R1 or whatever. And everybody got pucks and all that jazz, but you could compete without having all the bells and whistles, and I'm pretty sure it worked out really good. You were lacking maybe speed because you didn't practice enough, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't equipment related.
Yeah, I wish down here that we would switch to like a 21.5 or even a 25.5 open timing class for our stock guys, because then if you want to buy all the stuff, like if you want to buy the pucks and the titanium and all that stuff because you like it or you just hate money, either way, go for it, do it. And then, you know, your motor is going to last quite a while because you can run a fairly low timing or boost and you can still have the same performance. Or if you don't want to spend all that money, buy your motor, buy your speed control, buy your car, leave it stock, you know, leave it at whatever weight it's at, turn your boost up, and then every 6 months buy a motor when it burns down. Like, just leave it open. Like, slow the car down, you know, slow the motors down, make sure that they're roar legal, and then leave the speed control settings open. And then guys, if they want to spend money, they can. If they don't want to spend money, they don't have to. And you'll probably get the same results.
Yeah. But then again, the fixed timing motor fixes the issue. The only thing
absolutely.
is you can't go through many manufacturer, but they'll all almost be the same. If that track says it's a hobby wing motor, the other track says it's a Reedy motor, it's pretty much going to be the slower speed, but also a much cheaper ticket.
Yeah, I think that's the, you know, the other alternative is like, you know, what you're saying. The only thing that sucks would be like for us, you know, we have to go in and try to bid to be the spec motor at all these different tracks, which is totally fine. Like, if that's what they want to do, then cool, let's do it. Like, we'll figure it out.
But since you're working in the industry, I think it'd be a good way to, it'd be a good way to link a manufacturer and a track instead of always going direct with sponsorships and all those issues that we're not going to start reopening right now.
Yeah.
But it would be a good idea to try and make sure that the manufacturer is supporting a certain track or not.
Yeah, it definitely opens a line of communication for them to have, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's close up with the good old question. What's the worst thing in the RC according to Tyler Hooks? I know you got a couple of options, so that's why.
I think that my least favorite part of RC, which was kind of my last Unprofessionals post, is that everybody's entitled to their opinion and to post their opinion wherever they want. That is totally fine with me. Like, post whatever you want, whatever you think, wherever you want to. But in regards to that, if you're going to have an opinion, think about it first. Like, whatever the opinion is about whatever, I don't care, you know, what we're talking about, but like, take a minute and a half maybe before you start typing and think. Like, if there is if somebody's doing something a certain way, you know, this race wants to have 150 entries, and you know in your head that the track can fit 175 entries, but they want to do 150. Don't immediately post, why aren't you doing 175? Well, maybe they only had enough t-shirts to do 150 people. Like, they have to have a reason. There has to be a reason to do it. You know, there's a small minority of these people that are putting on races or that are doing things or that are manufacturers of companies that are actually stupid. The rest of them know what they're doing to a certain degree or have a good idea of what they're doing. So if they're doing something a certain way, it's probably because they thought it through. So if they're not doing it the way that you want them to, maybe take a second to like step back, pull yourself out of it and be, why would they do that? Why are they doing it like that? And if you can't come up with an answer after a minute and 30 seconds, then post. But don't just immediately start typing and be like, this is stupid. Why are you doing this? Because, you know, as a person on the other end, sometimes you just want to set people on fire, man, because the questions are just dumb.
Man, I could talk about that for 2 hours. The guy below could talk to you about that for 4 days. But it's what amazes me in RC is how much people have an opinion on how people can play with their livelihoods. Like,
right.
He lives from RC full time. Like, there's a reason why classes are set in that order or whatever, because that's how it works. Everything could be better, but sometimes it's complicated to make sure that everybody's happy and no one's ever going to be, everyone's going to be happy, you know? So it's trying to have the least amount of people that will complain
Yeah, I mean, I run a racing series down here too, or a couple of different ones, and that was the first thing that my dad told me when I started putting on races. I was like 16, and he was like, "Yeah, you're not gonna please everybody. You're just not. So just make sure that the large majority of people are happy and that you're happy with the product that you're putting out, and the rest of those guys can eat it. Like it's it is what it is."
So at 16, you had grown men of 40-year-old telling you it wasn't okay for this, and that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't marshal.
Yeah.
All right, man. I asked you for about half an hour. We're already at 40 minutes. I really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure. Keep up the good work. Can't wait for you guys to be at DNC. We might have to watch from home, but if we can't, we'll definitely come and say hi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. RC Kevin and Mr. Bago. If you guys are watching out there on Facebook or YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button for both of them. Help these guys out.
Experienced guy.
Yeah, I know the drill. I got this. I've done this before. And yeah, thank you guys. I'll see y'all later.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Et voilà, c'était Tyler Hooks. Merci beaucoup.
Ouais.
Fait que Bégo est rendu avec une petite habitude de rester un peu plus soft quand on parle en anglais, mais là, il me fait des questions. Normand Jubainville, il était incroyable.
C'est parce que j'ai beaucoup de notes. D'écriture, de notes. Puis j'ai des gens qui m'écrivent pour des affaires quand même assez importantes. Qu'il faut d'ailleurs que je règle ça demain. Fait que c'est quand même le fun.
Cool.
Pas là, mais ça bouge.
Fait que là, on va perdre une couple d'auditeurs en anglais. Fait que là, on va switcher en français. Sorry, guys, we're going to switch to French just for local news. And we'll see you soon. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Fait que là, si vous voulez juste vous assurer de partager ça dans les différents groupes, s'il vous plaît, ce serait vraiment apprécié. On va juste revoir un peu l'actualité au Québec. On va revenir sur la pratique de course de peut-être des qualifications de choses bin. On va parler du CTSR en fin de semaine. Puis, on va voir s'il y avait d'autres questions pour M. Éric Deschaines. Fait que je ne sais pas si la personne qui me texte en ce moment regarde l'émission, mais les dates pour le 1-8 ne sont pas sorties encore. Il y a juste la Québec Classique qui est annoncée du 25 au 28 août. Je vais essayer de ne pas me fourrer. 25 au 28 août, la Québec Classique au Bégo RC Raceway. Puis c'est pas mal ça. Fait que comment ça va, Bégo?
Ça va bien.
Ouais.
Ça va bien.
Fait qu'on
juste
a encore
que
des
je suis encore
problèmes
triste parce que mon casque d'écoute, il ne marche pas encore. On a encore gossé.
Ouais. Mais.
Moi, il y a bien le laptop, le son n'est pas débile, puis ici, ça amène du bruit, fait que j'entends comme fuck out. C'est un peu boche.
Ouais, je t'ai muté, sauf la fois que tu es venu te faire déranger, puis tu as dit ben ouais, je suis en train de travailler, qu'est-ce que tu crises? Mais bon. La seule fois que j'ai pas muté, c'était ça. Fait que c'était vraiment.
Ben, parce que c'est ça, j'étais en train de faire d'autres choses.
Marc-André Gauthier, il va définitivement avoir de la place pour le CTSR. On en a reparlé sous peu, mais merci beaucoup de t'offrir pour annoncer. On va s'en reparler un peu après le live, mais définitivement, tu vas pouvoir venir nous donner un coup de main. All right. Fait que c'est ça. On parle-tu de semi-l'interclub 3?
Oui, ben oui.
Fait que, finalement, j'ai pu aller sur le tapis. Oui. J'avais hâte. J'ai roulé ma camionnette. J'ai roulé mon buggy 2 roues stock. C'était incroyable. Fait qu'on va revenir un peu là-dessus. Là. La gang du Nord est descendue. On avait quand même pas mal de gars du CTSR, les gars stock, puis un peu plus qui étaient là. Une couple de face familier. Marc-André Gauthier qui est partout. Il était là, c'était vraiment le fun. Fait que, comment tu as trouvé ça, l'interclub numéro 3 ou la pratique de course de peut-être pas...
C'était une bonne pratique. Moi, j'ai trouvé ça... C'était intéressant. Les gens ont bien aimé. Le monde se sont bien pratiqués. C'était quand même le fun.
C'est des pratiques serrées.
Ouais, ben, parce qu'on est vrai. Ben, c'est vraiment une pratique de course. Là. On a vraiment fait ça pour la pratique.
Mais oui, j'avais ma casquette.
Les gens ils ont vraiment bien participé. C'était le fun. C'était bien rodé, en tout cas. Ça a bien été. Puis c'était le fun. Fait que non, on a bien du fun. J'étais bien content. Là, ben, plus que ça va, mieux que ça va. Fait que j'espère bien qu'on va.
La valve commence à ouvrir. Fait que là, les pratiques vont terminer. Puis on va pouvoir faire
je suis tellement
pas
content
pratiques.
qu'il y ait le Super Bowl dimanche.
OK, on passe à un autre sujet.
Non.
No. On n'embarque pas
va
là-dedans. On n'embarque pas là-dedans. Je
Non.
vais pas me faire
C'est
barrer
bon,
de YouTube.
non.
Fait que c'est pas mal ça. C'était vraiment le fun sur le tapis. Pour vrai, les pneus slick, c'est vraiment super facile d'entretien. Tu nettoies, tu sauces, ou tu nettoies pas, puis tu sauces, ou tu sauces pas, puis tu mets ça sur la track. Pour ceux qui sont là, après la pas course, j'ai embarqué sur la track avec des tailleurs à pin, des vrais tailleurs à tapis. C'était des tailleurs qui avaient déjà 3 packs. Fait que c'était vraiment le test parfait pour voir un peu comment ça se comportait par rapport à des slicks. Comme driver extrêmement moyen, des fois, je peux voir quand même un peu mon speed puis ma constance. Puis je suis vraiment content d'apprendre qu'il n'y avait pas de grosse différence de vitesse entre des tailleurs à pin puis des tailleurs slick. La seule différence, là, c'est ce que ça sort des poches. Parce qu'il aurait fallu que j'échange parce qu'il commençait à être usé. Fait que oui, la grip était différente, oui, ça grippait bien, mais maudit que les slicks, c'est plus simple. Fait que je te remercie de faire ça pour le monde. Ça coûte moins cher, c'est beaucoup plus simple. Puis, tu sais, le monde, il garde un set de tailleurs, il garde ça pour 3 mois. Il y a juste Michel Bois qui est rendu, je pense, à 3 sets. C'est sûr, il est là à tous les jours. Mais,
Ça, c'est comme.
mais on remercie Michel pour mettre tellement de rubber sur la track et que ça colle.
Ça, c'est comme dans une manif, c'est ça, avec un drapeau de la nazie. Là, tu sais, je veux dire, ça n'a pas rapport. Là, je veux dire,
Il n'est pas normal.
Michel, il est tout le temps là.
Mais là, Michel, c'est pas un nazi. On veut juste être sûr qu'il n'y a personne
Non,
qui a
mais je veux dire, c'est un exemple, c'est une image que je donnais, tu sais.
C'est un exemple de marde.
Oui, mais c'est un exemple de merde de dire Michel qui est rendu à 3. Tu sais, il n'y a pas personne qui a 3 sets de tailleurs. Tu sais, c'est le seul. Là.
Anyways, fait que c'est ça. Félicitations à Loïc et Damon qui ont eu des batailles endiablées. Le gars au micro, il n'a pas arrêté de gueuler puis il avait un peu
Hey,
mal
là, sérieux, à 4 roues, là. À 4 roues, ça va pas.
J'ai arrêté de te regarder puis je faisais juste commenter les deux autres.
Hey,
c'est fou raide.
Hey, Gabin, tu iras checker mes 3 derniers tours, là. Ben gros, je checkais à la course.
Pas.
Je checkais à la course.
C'est fou raide.
À 16-17 secondes dans le straight line, je checkais dans les coins. Tu sais. J'aurais aimé ça, ouais, ça, parce que le monde a l'air à vraiment avoir aimé ça. Ça va l'air tête, c'est un méchant tel, les affaires. Là.
Ouais, c'était vraiment hot.
Ouais.
Moi, pour ma part, en camionnette, je partais dans le B. Il y avait quand même pas mal de calibre dans le B. Là. Il y avait Martin Charret, il y avait Normand. Normand, honnêtement, là, on a beau faire plein de jokes, là, mais c'est vraiment beaucoup amélioré. Puis il y avait Colton aussi, où c'était très serré. Francis et Lily Rose complétaient, je pense, le groupe. Vas-y.
Ben, Normand à 4 roues a très bien roulé en passant.
Oui. Il a fini.
Son nouveau body, ça a tout fait la différence.
Body qui a tenu la route.
C'est un body spécial. Et pas, tu sais, c'est ça. C'est une peinture spéciale. Là, puis, définitivement.
Monsieur Francis Morin Airbrush va pouvoir mettre d'autres photos là-dessus. Mais honnêtement, c'était vraiment le fun. L'ambiance est cool. Le tapis, c'est vraiment simple. Quand ça colle trop, tu baisses ton dual rate ou tu mets de la colle sur le flanc, puis that's it, that's all. Je pense qu'il y a quasiment personne en plus qui colle les flancs. Puis c'est ça. Moi, pour ma part, j'ai réussi à finir, mais j'ai décidé d'aller rencontrer le mur parce que j'étais un peu trop nerveux. À peu près au milieu de la course.
En stadium?
En troc,
camionnette, ouais.
Ouais, je venais de dépasser Colton pour la première place, qui venait de se planter 2-3 fois. Fait que j'ai essayé de gaper un peu Colton. Puis au bout du straight, j'ai oublié comment breaker. Fait que j'ai été voir la bande.
Il y a beaucoup de monde qui se sont mis à rouler vite. Tu sais, Colton est arrivé de nulle part. Puis, tu sais, il a des petites erreurs, mais c'était vite, ces affaires-là.
Ouais, c'était pas pire. Martin Charret puis Charlie Gagnon qui sont descendus du Saguenay. C'est le fun de voir des nouvelles faces, du monde qui sont bien. Mais Charlie avec, c'était sa première genre course 1-10, tapis, surprise. Hein. Mais tu sais, il a pas eu dans un chevreuil sa 40.
Super bien roulé.
Puis les deux gars après sont allés au CTSR, fait que c'était quand même pas pire. Tu sais, Marc-André Gauthier qui dit dans les commentaires, là, lui, il a encore son stock du 418 dans le temps à Québec. Fait que clairement, c'est durable, là, ça marche bien. Y avait-il d'autres choses à rajouter sur ta pratique de course?
Non, écoute, le reste, on va se préparer pour la prochaine course dans l'autre semaine.
Malheureusement, par faute d'employé, tu ne pourras pas te présenter au CTSR en fin de semaine.
Ouais, ben c'est ça, là, j'ai un peu de short staff, comme on dit, fait que là, j'étais un petit peu...
Pourtant, la pénurie de main-d'œuvre, je pensais que ça n'existait pas.
Ouais, non, mais c'est ça. Mais là, c'est un peu tough. Mais regarde, c'est correct. On va...
Pour ceux qui veulent savoir, stock, 2 roues, ça a été Vincent Duval, moi, Francis 1, 2, 3, Francis Morin. En camionnette, je me souviens plus. Je pense que c'était Vincent Duval, Marc-André Gauthier, puis je me souvenais pas c'était qui l'autre. Désolé. En 2 roues, ça a été un peu mélangé, mais en 2 roues, ça a été Loïc, toi, Mongeau. Puis en...
Non, c'est moi.
Ouais,
moi,
c'est pas l'ordre là, qui est important, là, c'est juste les 3. Puis en 4 roues, ça a été...
okay, ouais.
Ça a été toi en 4 roues, ça je me souviens. Puis la deuxième position, c'est décidé là, sur un cheveu dans le straight line. Puis si je ne me trompe pas, c'est Loïc qui l'a eu sur Damon.
Non, Loïc a fini 3.
C'est Damon, je suis vraiment pourri comme commentateur. Mais l'important, c'est que c'était vraiment serré. Fait que ça a été.
Le tout fini serré. Loïc.
C'est vrai. Dans 2 roues aussi, ça a fini sur un cheveu.
Ça n'a pas rapport, là. On a fini, j'étais dans le mur, moi. J'ai fini allongé à le mur.
T'as manqué la loupe tellement que t'as revolé dans les airs, c'est vrai. C'est vrai.
T'as accroché tous les deux, ça n'a pas d'allure.
Mais non, c'était vraiment le fun. L'ambiance était cool, puis les courses les pratiques, étaient très serrées.
Ben, parce que des fois, on est porté à dire course parce que c'était des pratiques de course. Ouais, la structure était faite comme une course, mais dans le fond, c'est ça, c'est une pratique.
Ah, c'est ça. En troc, merci Marc-André. C'était Damon, Marc-André et Colton qui a fait le bump. Qui a fini 3e. Il y avait du gaz.
Oui.
Hey, j'étais surpris d'apprendre que sur les X-Ray, le kit de base, tu sais,
la braise.
Le ball stud mount arrière, il est fait en plastique.
Plastique.
J'étais surpris de voir ça. Mais là, Colton au moins a pu se réparer là, parce qu'il y a eu un petit contretemps. Puis, Mongeau qui dit que tu as volé sa 2e position. Écoute, 20$, c'est 20$.
Ah, 20$, c'est 20$.
Fait que c'est ça. Puis là, on va parler du CTSR vite. Aujourd'hui, on a fait l'annonce. Marc-André Gauthier dit qu'il y a Yokomo aussi, c'est en plastique en arrière. C'est bizarre. Ben, tu mets du métal et tu n'échanges plus. Donc, on va parler du CTSR vite. Là, en fin de semaine, on va avoir une pratique contrôlée, supervisée. Donc, vous pouvez appeler ça comme vous voulez. Mais on fasse un seul programme. Donc, au lieu de faire les stocks le matin, les modes l'après-midi, puis qu'on court comme des malades mentales, puis que ce ne soit pas super le fun, on va être capable de faire tout un programme ensemble. Donc là, les classes commencent à bien se diviser. On est rendu avec du 2 roues stock, du 4 roues stock, du 2 roues et du 4 roues open. Puis on va avoir la classe Stadium Truck. Puis les points vont compter pour les points qui vont sortir de cette pratique-là vont compter pour le championnat. Donc, il faut que j'arrête d'utiliser ma main gauche parce que ça fait de l'ombre. On va y aller avec l'autre barre pour gesticuler. Puis, il y a encore de la place. Donc, on va en parler quand même une couple de fois cette semaine. Là, on est encore capable de prendre quand même plusieurs personnes puis d'être capable de faire un programme ensemble fait que tout le monde court vraiment moins. Oui, normalement, il va y avoir des camionnettes. Puis c'est pas mal plus le fun. Que ce soit pour l'annonceur, pour l'organisateur ou le monde qui coursait, faire tout le matin ou tout l'après-midi, c'était vraiment rough, puis on courait comme des malades. Fait que là, d'être capable d'espacer ça un peu, ça va être plus le fun. Fait que dites-le à vos amis. Le CTSR va être prêt en fin de semaine, ça devrait être le fun. On n'a pas grand-chose à ajouter là-dessus. On va faire le suivi pour tout ça. Assurez-vous d'appeler au magasin, s'il vous plaît, pour réserver votre place. C'est juste beaucoup plus facile. Puis je pense que c'est ça. Y avait-tu d'autres choses à dire? Toi, avais-tu d'autres choses à rajouter? Tu as posté ta photo de moteur en fin de semaine. Je ne sais pas parce que je ne suis pas sur mon ordi. C'est vraiment impressionnant quand même. C'est brillant. Hein?
Ah, c'est fou. Un staff vraiment écœurant me faire ça. C'est malade. Puis je l'ai fait pas mal. Je l'ai fait, ouais. Il y en a qui payent pas assez sur le gaz. Je peux te le dire.
Pourquoi je me sens encore pas. Là, dis-moi que mon Testament était crotté. Dis-moi que j'allais comme un peu. Hey, je l'ai roulé quasiment toute la saison puis j'y ai donné à go. Là. T'es-tu sérieux? Il est encore propre?
Tant qu'on propre. Il est noir,
Es-tu
man.
sérieux? Ah, mais il est noir. S'il est noir, c'est parce que je l'ai gazé.
Non, il est noir parce qu'il marche trop gras.
Parce que je suis trop soft sur le. Fuck.
Va te créer un insert de 4 là-dedans, tu vois, tu vas allumer un esti.
Ben là, je pense que j'aurais pas le choix. Là. J'ai besoin
Ouais, ça n'a pas
d'aide.
d'allure. Pour de vrai, ça va. Puis il y en a d'autres qui ont passé au travers. Je n'ai défait un piston. Il est à tête.
Ah ouais?
Bearing, oh oui. Oui. Ouais,
Mais
fait
quand
que
tu
tu
dis.
sais, je vous dirais que des fois, c'est des affaires qu'on pense pas à faire, puis on se dit, bah, il marche, mais des fois, de le nettoyer, de vérifier, de changer les bearings, ça peut vous éviter bien du trouble après, parce que, tu sais, de toute façon, on va mettre des photos, là, d'une coupe, tu vois, que j'ai, tout sont serrés, là, mais
Hey, je suis déçu. Pour vrai, j'avais hâte que tu le regardes et tu me dises, OK, parce que tu te souviens, l'année passée, mon moteur était clean, clean, clean. T'as dit, buddy, man, t'es vraiment pas écœurant. Puis là, cette année, je
on
pensais que
dirait que t'as
j'avais
même
une
pas juste
meilleure
le
shot.
c'était noir, là, c'était pas beau, là.
Fuck.
C'était pas beau, t'avais du carbone sur le dessus, puis celui qui était popé, je vais le dire, c'est Phil Bedard. Phil Bedard, il a comme bien roulé parce qu'il était ajusté, tu sais, le moteur il était caramel en dedans, mais pas de carbone, tu sais.
OK.
Puis je vais mettre les moteurs c'est ça, d'autres gars, là, puis c'était correct, là. Comme je te dis, il y en a un que lui, j'ai bien fait de l'ouvrir parce que c'est sûr qu'il y aurait eu une surprise.
Qu'est-ce que tu
Sûr,
veux
ça.
dire quand tu dis une surprise? C'est que le piston sleeve, c'était fini?
Ouais, ouais,
Il y a
ouais,
du.
c'est ça.
Il y a
Oh
du
oui, ça finissait pas à... Puis là, le bearing, le gros bearing, là, il grattait parce qu'il y a eu de la cochonnerie dedans. Non, c'est ça, c'était temps que ça se passe. Je n'ai pas fait les miens encore, mais on va voir les miens, là, on va checker ça, mais tu sais,
Mais
celui-là, oui.
cette année, c'est tiens-les ou vends-les. Let's go. Je mets ça dans le fond.
Ben, c'est ça, j'ai du nouveau moteur qui s'en vient, mais euh, mon moteur de Truggy, je pense qu'il est encore en forme pas mal. Moteur de Buggy aussi. Plus le moteur à mon gars, j'ai hâte de voir comment ce qu'il est, tu sais.
Ouais, parce que quand il est à l'envers, il n'y a pas le gaz collé dans le fond, tu sais.
Non, non, pas nécessairement ça. C'est parce que lui, il a viré pas mal. Tu sais, il a pratiqué. C'est pas le temps de l'avoir brassé, c'est plus. Il a brûlé du gaz pas mal, là. Dès que tout le monde ramassait le stock, là, ben lui, il est en haut.
Ben,
Puis
quand toi, tu travaillais, lui, il roulait, c'est ça?
ouais, c'est ça. Lui, puis Ali, là, partir avec 5 gallons en dessous du bras pour aller rouler. Les autres, ils n'ont pas trop peur de ça, là. Je veux dire,
Ah.
ça débarque quand il n'y a plus de gaz, là, dans la
Ben
canisse.
là,
Ça,
papa, viens, je peux te faire d'autres gaz?
ben ouais, mais c'est
C'est
ça.
simple que ça.
Ben ouais, c'est ça, tu sais. Fait que c'est
Good.
pour ça, c'est plus pour ça, mais j'ai hâte de voir.
Good. Je pense que ça faisait le tour. Là. C'était un peu spécial aujourd'hui. Je sais que le monde sont habitués en anglais ou en français. Là. J'essaie de mixer les deux. Je vois que les résultats sont corrects. On essaie toujours de faire quelque chose de différent. C'est sûr que Drake et Rivkin, c'est tough d'avoir ça toutes les semaines. Le but, c'est d'essayer d'être un peu différent. En fin de semaine, on ne va pas vlogger parce qu'encore une fois, on ne veut pas trop de troubles. Mais définitivement, là, dès qu'on peut recommencer à faire des vidéos, c'est quelque chose qui va être fait. J'ai du contenu qui s'en vient. Puis là, j'ai Bégo que je vais essayer de ne pas couper.
Ouais, excuse-moi, non, c'est juste à dire, on vient de m'écrire, il y en a qui disent qu'ils aimeraient ça avoir une entrevue avec Ryan Mayfield.
Ah, il n'est pas facile.
Ben, en tout cas, je te dis ça, là, c'est ce que tu m'as écrit, là. Tu sais.
Mon don, c'est qui?
Ben là.
Ah ouais, hey, on le call. On le call.
Hein?
On a fait y faire payer que ça une couple de fois, fait que vas-y, on le call. C'est qui?
On call qui?
C'est qui a dit Mayfield? Let's go.
Non, je peux pas dire ça parce que je trouve ça
Assume,
chier, là, qu'il
ouais.
écrit. Mais non, ben, je te le dirai en privé, je ne peux pas dire
Ben
ça
là, le
même.
monde, ils veulent voir c'est qui.
Ouais, je sais.
Mayfield,
Ben, le monde, ils veulent-tu voir le gars qui a demandé ça ou bien ils veulent voir Mayfield? Ce serait un bon sondage à faire.
ou des poutines.
Non, moi, je pense que le monde veut voir Mayfield.
Je vais.
Cavalry, maintenant, moi, je dis Cavalry.
Ça c'est in the works. Fend aussi, c'est in the works. Mais Mayfield, c'est tough.
Ouais.
Pour ceux qui ne savent pas, Mayfield ne s'occupe pas de ses médias sociaux. Je ne suis pas sûr qu'il sait comment ça marche. Fait que déjà là, c'est pas facile. Fait que, hey, en passant, je vais te féliciter parce que honnêtement, ta caméra, même si c'est sur ton laptop, est vraiment plus belle que la semaine passée.
Pourtant, on n'a rien changé.
Ouais, mais la semaine passée, on était dans la brume, c'était de la neige. Anyways, c'est pas qu'on essaye pas, mais des fois, ça chie.
Et pourtant, on l'avait essuyé tout. C'est pas chez moi,
Ah,
moi,
ouais.
c'est ça.
Mais c'est pas grave.
Anyway, on va devoir essayer de travailler sur un nouveau setup. Là. On a de checker pour avoir
Ouais.
une caméra, puis des
Ouais.
micros, puis, etc.
Ouais.
là.
Ben, je pense que ça fait le tour. Hein? C'est un
Oui.
petit live relax à soir.
Oh, oui.
Merci à tout le monde qui a été là. Merci vraiment à tous ceux qui supportent le channel. Là. On m'a dit que le lien pour les chandails KCRC ne fonctionnait pas. Je pense qu'il est réglé. Si, honnêtement, là, vous êtes encore 20 qui regardent, puis là, en ce moment, j'ai 9 likes ou whatever. Si vous voulez donner un petit like puis partager ça dans les différentes plateformes, ça me donne un gros coup de main. Là, on va commencer à essayer de jouer avec un peu les algorithmes, que ce soit Facebook ou YouTube. Si on est capable de mettre plus de yeux sur le télévidéo au Québec, ben, on va être capable d'avoir plus de gars puis de filles. Puis ainsi de suite, on va être capable de faire un peu grossir ce qu'on fait. Fait que si ça ne vous dérange pas, ça me donne un gros coup de main. On like. On a déjà 2 personnes de plus qui ont liké. Yes, sir. Puis, si vous avez d'autres questions, là, pour de vrai, gênez-vous pas, ça me fait plaisir. J'accepte aussi les commentaires, les insultes ou les questions. Tranquillement, pas vite, là, on commence à bien se setuper, mais on essaie toujours de faire du stock pour vous autres. Fait que j'espère que vous appréciez ça. On s'en va un petit peu tout croche, là, fait que je vais closer la patente. C'est le temps de dire banane. Puis, ou Spectrum for the win. On t'aime, Eric. Fait que je pense que c'est ça. Si vous avez d'autres questions, mettez-les en commentaire, je vais répondre un peu plus tard. Ryan Harris, c'est aussi quelque chose que je travaille beaucoup, mais je ne voulais pas en parler, mais hop, c'est sorti. Les Patreons, ils savent que je travaille sur une coupe de gars, fait que si jamais vous voulez des exclusivités, vous pouvez toujours vous abonner à ce petit groupe-là. Ça donne un coup de main aussi beaucoup, beaucoup, beaucoup au channel. Et je pense que c'est le temps de caler la shot. Fait que Bégo, merci beaucoup d'avoir été là.
Yes, ça fait plaisir.
Puis, on s'en va bientôt.
Yes.
Ciao tout le monde. Merci.
Hey, là, tu fais ça.
Non, c'est un peu whack. Hey, j'ai tellement peur de regarder ça, je vais faire hey, j'ai donc bien de l'air d'une. C'est ça. Puis, je peux pas faire ça comme ça parce que là, la caméra est rendue trop loin avec le nouveau setup. J'aime ça parce qu'il y a plus de lumière, puis je pense que ma face est plus claire, ce qui est en même temps une pas bonne chose que ma face soit claire. Mais bon. Fait que c'est ça. Puis, je vous souhaite une bonne soirée. Merci beaucoup à tous d'avoir été là. Ton Messenger, il est sa poudre. Puis, t'as-tu des batteries Traxxas en stock? All right. Faites attention aux autres. Ciao tout le monde.
C'est ça. Ciao.